get started with the Lagoon tile design tool. You'll go to villalagoontile.com. On the home page you'll see cement tile, and from here you scroll down to tile design tool. Today's video is going to be a basic tutorial on the Neyland Design Infinity tiles, so let's go and filter by design series Neyland Design. From here you can see a variety of different tiles. Most of these are square or hex tiles, and we're going to start with a tile named Paladin. So I know the name, so I can search for it up here, and there it is. So once the tile's pulled up, you click on it and it adds it over to the left into an outline form that's ready to be colored. So I'm going to add it 2 or 3 times, that way if I want to do color variations, the tile's there and ready to go. So from here you click on one and it'll automatically take you to the design tool, where you have the option of over 100 different cement powder colors. There's a few ways to look at those. This is in the palette swatch mode. You can click here and get a swatch and name mode, or lastly the color number. I prefer the larger swatch square. Before we start coloring these, there's another way to get there. If you happen to be on the Villa Lagoon website and see a tile that you like, let's just do a search for Designer Series Neyland Design. This will take you to his page, and from here you can see the different tiles that are available, and all of them are available in the design tool. So let's go ahead and go to Field Day, click on that. You'll see the description, you'll see a few different pattern builds of that tile, and it tells you the colors that that tile happens to be made in. If there's other colorways, they'll be listed right here. But let's say we want to try something using our own colors for a specific project. If you go to Custom Tile Design Tool, it will bring you to a page that has that tile loaded and ready to color. And like I said, it's always nice to have a few extras, so let's go to pick a pattern and do Field Day, and we'll pop it in a few more times. And then from here, like before, this is where we can start coloring the pattern. We'll go back to the previously loaded Paladin and start the coloring and layout process. And if you roll over a color, it'll give you the name eventually, so that's helpful too. So for this first coloring, we will make sure that a tile is selected in the left, and I'll go ahead and use gray-green. It's a circle when it's selected. It's also noted up here at the top. We'll drop that in. You just click on an area, and let's do the second color as smoke blue. We'll keep it pretty subtle. So now I want to play with this on an actual floor or wall space. So we will add a layout, and we have squares, hex, triangle, fish scale. The tile we're working with is square, so we have 3 options to choose from here. We'll just start with the standard square, click on it. With this selected, you just tap in a space and the tile's dropped in. And here's where the fun starts. At the upper navigation, right now we're on Add a Tile, so when you click, a tile is added. If you needed to add a solid color, you could add color. It remembers the color you used last. When you go back to your layout, it will add that solid color. The right rotate, left rotate, and 180, all in the upper navigation, along with clear. So if you ever drop a tile in that you don't want, you just click on it and it'll go away. So let's start with 180. We'll flip every other So now there's a whole new look created with that one single tile. I'm going to go ahead and build one off to the side so we know what we started with. And then we'll build another new one here. Let's do this one. Each 4 squares will rotate a different direction. So the original, rotate right, then left, and then 180. So it kind of has a pinwheel look to it. Let's clear this and separate that out with another selection. Let's try the 180 in a different position. So with one tile, you can see we've built several different looks. This is our original. This is kind of a crisscross diamond shape, horizontal with small diamonds. And then sometimes it's best to start with just 4 so you can see how the pattern develops and then add in the tile one at a time while you're rotating. Jump ahead and let's try one more thing. We'll flip 180 every other row, so we need to add another row in there. And then go back to the 180, 3rd row down. So we kind of have this meandering, tumbling block pattern, if you will. An interesting thing too is if you don't like the coloring, you can edit the original. Select it, go to the design tool, you'll get your color palette, and from here you can make an adjustment. Go back to the layout tool and you can see that all the patterns have changed. That's why I like to do several on the side. So if I see one I like and want to keep it, I'll just color a new tile. And I'll go to a new layout. Let's try on point. This is a diagonal pattern. And let's try a few rotations. Let's just do the 180 on every other row. Let's say this is in a room and we want to border it with a solid color. We can add a color tile. Make sure our last color was the one we wanted. This color is mountain. Go back to the layout tool, add color, and we have a border added. One other thing that's kind of fun to play with is to take the same pattern and adjust the background slightly. So let's get our 3rd tile out. So you can see that we've used the dark mountain blue-gray in the negative space on this one. Let's see what that looks like. I don't remember what color I used here, so if I go to that tile, down below each tile it shows you which colors you've used. So I can select it. It was gray-green, SB3001. I say use me. Then when I go back to this tile, I can click it and it's there. Just verifying I have the right color. And let's go back to our layout and let's put the opposite in. That didn't make much of a difference. Let's go and edit that tile. Select the one you want to edit, go back to the design, and let's change it up to I like that bolder color. Let's change the border to match. So we'll go back to that That's the tile that's selected. Do the add a color. Not a tile. Clear that. Add a color. Sometimes it helps to fill in the row that you know. So we know this row needs to be a 180 rotate. So we go to the 180 tool. And this row needs to be 180. We can fill in the rest with the standard. Makes it a little simpler. That square's not right, so go back to the color it's supposed to be and it'll drop it in right in place at the same rotation. Let's do the rest of the border. AGN is selected. Go back to the layout tool. Add color. So that shows you a little bit of the variety of what you can do. Once you have a floor laid out, we have a tool called Florify, which gives you a little bit of a 3D perspective of what that could look like. And then you just toggle it back off to get to the main floor. So when you go to your layouts now, we have the first one that we did and the second one we just finished. And most importantly, you need to download and print. Right now you cannot come back to this tool, so once you leave the site you can't come back and edit, but the download and print gives you a tear sheet that has every tile and all the patterns, all the colors used. So this is a very easy tool. If you want to come back and recreate what you have just done, it's easy because all the information's there. And when you're ready to place an order, that's the starting point for placing the order. Email Villa Lagoon Tile. You'll put in your name, your email address. The first time you do this, it'll have a couple categories for you to select whether this is a project for your home, client project. Once that's selected, it remembers you and you just have to then hit email a PDF. You should be getting an email shortly that has everything you need to finish this project. If you have questions, you can go to this More button in the upper right and get helpful tips, ordering information, contact information. So let the fun begin.